it is a pretty sharp lens. Hello YouTube! So it is review time again. This time, as announced, with the Samyang 50mm 1.4 in the Mark II version. But before we start the review, I want to say thank you. When I uploaded the first video, my humble goal for the whole channel was to reach 1000 views and 100 subscribers. And right now we are on over 800 views on the first video and around 20 subscribers, which compared to other videos on the platform, of course, isn't that much, but for me it is, and I'm really happy about that. And also I'm really happy about seeing that you guys commented the video, so you gave me feedback. You told me what I can do better, what I can improve on, and one of the things that you told me I can improve on is to add more pictures taken with this lens. And so I will do that in this video. I will add more pictures. I will also add the settings of the camera that were there when I took the pictures, and I will mark them as OOC, standing for out of camera, so you know whenever I edited them or when I didn't. So some of them are more edited, some are less edited, but I'm pretty sure you will see when they are. So thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this video and I try to improve. And if you think I did or did not, it would be awesome if you can give me feedback again so I can get better and better. So thank you again, and let's start with the review. 50mm 1.4. Just as the last time, we're going to talk really quick about the packaging. It comes in this box, which looks exactly the same. Well, it's a little bit smaller than the one from the 85mm. You also, again, get this awesome bag. Well, just as last time, as I said, I don't need it, but it's a fine gimmick. If you don't have a bag with you or something, you can put it in here and it's a little bit more protected. And you also get a lens hood. I honestly think that these lens hoods with cutouts look better than the other ones. I also got this one here. This was the one from the 85mm last time, which is completely closed. But I don't know, what about you? I think these ones look better. If you put it on the lens, I just like the look. Anyway, lens cap fits perfectly well, just as on the 85mm. No problem to attach it. Really made great. The focus ring, I think it's a little bit harder to turn than the 85mm, but still it feels really smooth and really good. So you got the same one switch and one button. Switch in standard mode, one is focusing in manual mode, and if you put it in there we go. In mode 2, you change the aperture with the ring, which some people like. I don't know, I don't use it. I only use it for focusing in manual mode. But yeah, and also the button. You can set these on the settings you want, but you need the lens stations for it. So I would recommend, if you got a Samyang lens, or let's say if you got more than one Samyang lens, or if you regularly want to change the settings, just get the lens station. It's around 25 euros, I think, so it's not really that expensive. And you can update the firmware on these lenses easily with the lens stations, and also put the settings as you like. Oh, I almost forgot, material is the same as on the 85mm, as on all new Samyang lenses, I believe. It's perfectly to save some weight. It feels great, it feels solid, it feels premium. So same as last time, nothing changed here. So I want to just shortly talk about the competitors of this lens, which in my opinion are the Sigma 1.4 50mm and the Sony Zeiss 1.4 50mm. I don't think you can compare it to the Sony G-Master 1.2 50mm, which is also just totally out of this universe price-wise. I think it's around 2,300 euro or something. Starting with the price. So this lens right now, you can buy it in Germany for around 630 euros. I think I got it for 550 on a deal. Comparing it to the Sigma 50mm 1.4 is not that much more expensive. It's at, let me check, 750 euros right now. And the Sony Zeiss costs around 1,300 euros right now. So the Sony is double as much as this, and the Sigma is around 10%, 15% more expensive, which is not that much. But still, the Samyang again is the cheapest of the competitors, so you can save some real money here. And then the other thing, the next thing that impressed me even more is the weight of this lens. So this lens weighs 420 grams. 420 grams. So it's really handy, it's really compact, it feels great on the camera body. It's absolutely not too heavy. And now when you compare it, the Sony Zeiss is at 780 grams, which is already almost double as much as this. And then you go to the Sigma, and the Sigma is 910 grams. 910 grams, almost a kilo, for a 50mm 1.4. That's just so heavy. It is so heavy, honestly. If you, like, you could put two of these lenses on your camera body and would still have less weight than one Sigma lens. I know the Sigma lenses have a metal body, which some people really like because they like the premium feel. For me, it's an absolutely no-go to have a 1 kilo prime lens, unless it's maybe a 135mm, but not a 50mm. I totally love about this lens that it is so lightweight that you can just, it's so versatile and handy. The weight for me is just perfect. So that would be the only thing that I would compare to the competitors. I'm absolutely sure that Sony as well as Sigma, they are both great lenses and they both produce great pictures. But as we're going to see, this lens is also able to produce perfectly sharp and awesome pictures. So that's why I'm not going to talk about or compare them to the competitors, because the biggest factors for me that is different in this lens than the competitors is the price and the weight. Alright, so for this video I thought we could also just jump into Lightroom quickly so I can show you some sample pics regarding the sharpness and the image quality. And as you can see here, I took 4 pictures all at 1.4 and 1 picture here at 2.2 just for comparison reasons. All the pictures are straight out of camera. The only thing that I changed so far is the exposure, so we can actually see the details a bit better. And the first thing I want to talk about is a little issue that I already experienced with the 85mm. As you can see here, the 4 pictures were all taken straight after another. And on the second picture, you can see the issue that I talked about with the focus on the glasses. So it doesn't happen too often for me. Maybe in this case, it was 1 out of 4. Usually it's 1 out of 6, 1 out of 7 pictures. Not as strong as this one, I have to tell you. So usually it's a little bit somewhere between the eye and the glasses then. But for me, this isn't a big issue really. I still think it's pretty accurate, the autofocus. But if you, I don't know, if your niche is to photograph people with glasses, then you might want to check on other lenses, even though I still don't know really if this is an issue of the camera or of the lens itself. It's hard to tell. I took them all on the Sony A7 IV, which I think has a pretty amazing autofocus system. So I would suggest it's a problem of the lens, but yeah, as I said, for me it's not a big deal. Let's talk about image quality instead. And yeah, I mean, zoomed in on 100%, not sharpened or anything, straight out of camera at 1.4, and you can see all the small blood vessels here. You can see details in the highlights, in the catch light. You can see every single leash here. And on this picture, you can also see quite well the shallow depth of field on 1.4. I mean, the eye is sharp, and then already the eyebrow, the glasses, of course, everything is already blurred out, and even the right eye here, which is almost on the same plane as the left eye, is already getting out of focus. So this is also why I usually would never take a picture like this, 50mm 1.4, and then from this distance such a close-up, because you got just so much out of focus. And her nose is out of focus. And yeah, but I think you can see here straight away that it is a pretty sharp lens. And if we compare it to the picture taken at 2.2, which is taken from a bit further away, to be fair, but I don't think it's a huge improvement, maybe a little bit, but the sharpness at 1.4 is already really impressive. And it looks a bit like this might be a bit blurred, but for example, the left part of the eye is already getting out of focus because of the shallow depth of field. This is insane. Like here it's tech sharp and then it's getting slightly out of focus again. But this is not a lens issue. This is because of the shallow depth of field. So if people say this lens isn't sharp, it must be either a setting issue or a setting issue, or maybe they got a bad copy, but it's definitely capable of taking sharp pictures. And don't forget, this is straight out of camera. I mean, if we go back here for a second and maybe just hide the contrast a little bit and then add some structure, some clarity. Oh, this was a bit much maybe, right? I mean, and you could even add a little bit of sharpness. We are going to overdo it right now, just for the purpose of this video. But I mean, look at this, right? Remember 1.4. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to complain about, except for the issue with the focus on her glasses here. Yes, so I just want to talk about the Bokeh real quick here, not too long, but I just want to show you some sample pictures here. As you can see, the Bokeh looks really smooth, really good, I would say. At the corner of the image, of course, you got these cuts here, so the cat eye shape starts up here as well, down here. But this is a setup that I would usually not do like this. And in a real picture, as you can see up here, it looks perfectly fine. I think it's really smooth, it's really calm, a little bit of the swirl effect. Yeah, so here's another image where you can see the shape of the bokeh balls. But yeah, as mentioned, in a real life image, as you can see up here, for me it's great. One little issue is the chromatic aberrations in green here in the background bokeh, but you can easily remove it in Lightroom, so that's not a problem really. As you can see here, like on real life pics, it's perfectly fine. And I mean, bokeh is one of the most important things if you buy a 1.4 lens. So I'm absolutely happy with how it's looking. So as you just saw in the clip, I experienced some issues with the autofocus. Again, the same issue as on the 85mm, where the focus hits the glasses or somewhere between eyes and glasses instead of the iris. As I said, for me it's not a big deal, and apart from that, I am absolutely and really happy with the autofocus of this lens. However, I experienced that in single shot it is a little bit slower than in continuous mode, which again is no problem for me because I almost always shoot in continuous mode, especially with lenses wide open. And if I'm not shooting landscape or anything, because I don't know, for me the depth of field with these lenses on 1.4 is just so shallow. If you put it in single shot, and you, especially if you take pictures of a moving target in any way, but even if not, you're always shaking it a little with the camera, and the depth of field is so shallow that you just, so many times, at least for me, I get unsharp pictures, not because of the lens, but because of the shallow depth of the field. And then single shot, focus is locked, and I move a little bit and it's not sharp anymore. So I just, when I shoot wide open and shoot close targets, I'm always on continuous mode. And for me, the autofocus is perfectly fine. It's not like lightning fast, but it's quick. It's absolutely quick. It hits its target, as you can see. So there's absolutely, for me, there's nothing to complain about the autofocus. Whew, cold. All right, so as you might can see, I'm the middle of the forest here. I went for a little hike and I thought I would just bring the Samyang 50mm f1.4 with me, because last time that I made a review was the 85mm, and one thing that I didn't add in the video was how does this lens actually perform on video mode. And so this time I thought I would just bring the lens with me and just show you what it looks like. So now we're on 1.4, and as far as I can tell, the autofocus looks just fine. And what I really like, of course, is the bokeh in the background. It's tracking me pretty good, I think. So I will just take a few steps back. I hope you can still hear me then, or I will just shut up for a second and then keep talking when I come back. So let's check if the autofocus is tracking me. So this is around, I would say, 5 meters now. Of course, I'm not moving really fast now, but I think that also would be pretty unfair if I would do it, because it's not a sport lens and everybody knows that. So I also took a few shots just from the surroundings here, which I will add in the video, so you can tell by yourself if you like the video mode and the video capabilities of this lens. Just the same with the 85, the focus ring goes really smoothly. You can actually focus pretty well in manual mode. Let's check if I move out of the frame, getting back into it. Whoop! And I think that works pretty fine. I mean, it's not the fastest, but I actually like smooth focusing. Yeah, as I said, we're not in sports, so I actually like the smooth transition here. I can do it again. Yeah, so I think it's fine, perfectly fine. And just in case if you're wondering what I'm filming with, actually you can here see the lens on the camera, which I think is really great. It looks great, it feels great, it's awesome. And I got this little tripod here from Joby. I think there's different brands, but I thought if anybody is interested, I'm not getting paid for this. It is advertising obviously, but just because I think this is really great. I can move back a little so you can actually see it. So this is just hanging there in the middle of the tree, and it's so small. Like, it's so small. I can actually put it in my bag over here. Oh, by the way, there is the Samyang 135 1.8, which I'm also going to review soon. So stay tuned. Yeah, so if you're out oftentimes and you're limited on your space from the stuff that you bring with you, get one of these. You can just put them around anything basically. Branches, just they can't be too big. But like these small branches, obviously they have to be well enough built to hold your camera. But as you can see, this works pretty well. So. Alright, so conclusion. Samyang 50mm 1.4 in the Mark II version. Let's check the points. So we have a great price. It is cheaper than its competitors. We have a great weight. It's absolutely lightweight. It feels amazing on the camera. You can work with it all day, no problem. And it still doesn't feel cheap at all. You get, third point, tech sharp pictures. I'm sure there are lenses that are sharper than this. For example, the 1.2 G Master of Sony, but it's also 5 or 6 times as expensive. So it is a really sharp lens, and if you don't get sharp pictures with it, then it's either a bad copy, which I didn't experience so far with Samyang lenses, or it's the wrong camera settings. But it is really sharp, it is capable of taking really sharp pictures. Point 4, the autofocus is, I think, really good. It's certainly not perfect. Sorry for the noise, it's our vacuum robot turning its rounds outside. So autofocus, it is really solid. It's certainly not perfect, but for most of the people, this is absolutely going to be fine. Unless you're in sports every time, but even running children, dogs, if the camera settings are properly, the autofocus can capture them. Not all of the pictures, not 100% of the time, but most of the time. So it is absolutely solid and enough for most of the people. And 5 would be the video capabilities. For me also absolutely great. I like the smooth transition of the autofocus, and of course the bokeh and the image quality, the overall image quality is perfectly fine for me. So all in all, this is an absolutely great lens if you're looking for an affordable 50mm with a really fast aperture of 1.4 and a great image quality. Then this is absolutely the way to go. You can save some real money here. You get a great package. So I think this is, at the moment at least, the best value you get for your money. And unless you want to spend a fortune on a lens like the 1.2G Master, then I can absolutely recommend this lens, and I'm sure you will have lots of fun shooting with that.